Hey everybody, we're going to do some review and incorporate some new movements from your classmates for this week's sight reading example. So here's what we're keeping from last time. Our dotted half note, which was 3 beats, we're going to keep as a circle that we draw with our finger like this. Our half notes, 2 beats each, we're going to keep with our head moving for 2 beats like this. Ta, ta, like that. Let's see. Let's keep our tapping of our tapping of our shoulders for our quarter rests. There's no such thing as a shoulder rest. Let's see. Let's give a quick shout out to Olivia, Coraline, Veda, and Nora, who provided suggestions for how we're going to do some new movements today. We're going to take our quarter note, stomp like a horse for your ta. We're going to take our eighth notes, TT, and put them on our knees, TT. For our whole note, 4 beats, we're going to put our hands on our hips like this and spin in a circle that lasts 4 beats like that. And I think that's it for all of the new suggestions. Nora, thank you for your suggestion of whistling. It's not going to work very well right now, but I hope to incorporate it in the future. So take a look at this example. See where there's rests, where there's notes of long duration, like half notes, dotted half notes, and whole notes. See where the short durations are. And we're going to try it. Okay? Ready, set, here we go. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Ta, ti, ti, ta. Ta, ti, ti, ta. Ta, ta. To. Ti, ti, ta. Ta, ti, ti, ta. Ta, ta, ta. Ta. I like how at the end it's kind of like bowing. Ta. How'd you do? You ready to move on? Let's keep going. So I'm going to introduce several new concepts today. And the first one is the strong beat versus the off beat. When we're listening to and feeling music, we often really connect with the steady beat. Ta, 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 ta. But a lot of what happens musically doesn't always fall on the steady beat. Sometimes it falls on what we are going to call the off beats, or in between the steady beats. And it really gives us a lot of fun musical feeling to be able to put a melody or a rhythm in between the strong beats. So in order to do that, the first thing we're going to do is look at eighth notes. We've talked about them, but every time we've seen them this year, we've seen them connected to each other with a beam. They're called beamed eighth notes. But sometimes you can have an eighth note that's all by itself, a single eighth note or a single T. It looks like a quarter note, but it's got something called a flag on it. And here, let's see, maybe, I hope that's not backwards, but maybe you can see that my eighth note here looks like this, okay? So a single eighth note by itself, just T. All right, there's another new note that we're going to talk about today. It's called a dotted quarter note. So it's a quarter note and it's got a dot next to it. When we see a dotted quarter note, in this context, we're going to know that it counts as 3 eighth notes or 1 quarter note plus 1 eighth note, or 1.5 beats. When I see a dotted quarter note, I'm going to say tum, okay? Now, one thing that you want to keep in mind is very often when you see a dotted quarter note, you might see a single eighth note behind it, okay? We're going to clap our tum like this, and we're going to snap our eighth note that comes before it. So I just want you to try this pattern and get it in your head really quick. Tum, ti tum, ti tum, ti tum. Try it, go. Tum, ti tum, ti tum, ti tum. Okay, I'm going to ask you to do that again, but this time when you do it, I'm going to very quietly be showing you the pulse that's happening behind it. Here we go right now. Tum, ti-tum, ti-tum, ti-tum. Keep going. Tum, ti-tum, ti-tum, ti-tum. One more time. Tum, ti-tum, ti-tum, ti-tum. Now, I only have 2 arms, so I couldn't keep the steady beat and show you how to clap tum, but hopefully you could see that sometimes my rhythm was falling with this hand and sometimes it was falling in between, okay? As we look at our next example, you're gonna see some tum and you're gonna see single T. So the first thing that we need to do here is understand that the very first measure we're looking at, it looks really strange. This is called a pickup measure. If you see our time signature, it says 4 on top of a 4. But in the very first measure, we just have a single eighth note. That's because that single eighth note is really going to lead us into what's happening for the rest of our rhythm here, okay? So I'm going to count us in, and just because this has got a lot of new information, I'm just going to clap, okay, and speak the rhythm. Follow along with me and see if you can keep up with where we are. Here I go. Ti, 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 ta, tum. Ti, 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 tum. Ti, ta, ti, 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 ta, ti, ti, tum. Ti, ta, ti, 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 ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, 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 ta, ti, ti, ta. All right, we're gonna try it again. This time I'm gonna ask you to join me. We'll go a little bit slower and we're only speaking and clapping the rhythm, okay? When we see the dotted quarter note, we say tum. When we see a single eighth note, we say T. Everything else should be familiar. Ready, set, and here you go. Ti, 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 ta, tum. Ti, 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 tum. Ti, ta, ti, 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 ta, ti, ti, tum. Ti, ta, ti, 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 ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, 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 ta, ti, ti, ta. Okay, how'd you do? The dotted quarter note can be a little bit tricky. We're going to practice it a lot in the coming weeks. So now that you've got some of the basic ideas of these new basic ideas rather, you've got pickup note, which is when you have a note that's in a measure that seems like it's way too short to belong. And then you've also got single eighth notes and you've got dotted quarter notes. Now we're going to add pitch, my friends. So we have been working with low do or high do, low C and high C. We're going to add a new note today. So if this one is do, we're going to put this here. It's so. So is with your hands, your palms facing you. So does not look like this, okay guys? So is going to have your palms facing you. And I want you to notice that compared to high and low do, so is in the middle, okay? And since we made do, C, there's only one note that so can be. So has to be the note G. Take a look at the musical staff and you'll see 5 lines and 4 spaces. G lives on the second line up from the bottom, okay? We will only be seeing C's and G's in this next example. I want you to show me low do or low C with your hands like this, show me the G in the middle like this, and show me high do or high C like this. Let's look at our last example. We've taken the rhythm and we've put some pitch on it. Let's go through and speak using first the solfege and speaking in rhythm while we look at this. Here we go. Do, 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 so, do, 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 so. So, do, 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 so, do, 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 so. So, do, 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 so, do, 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 so. Do, do, so, do, do. This time I'm going to sing while I say the note names in this example. Try it with me. Here I go. Do, 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 so, so, do, 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 so, so, do, 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 so, 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 do, 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 so, so, do, 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 so, 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 do, 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 so, do, do, so, 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 do, so, so, do. Were you ready for the bit of a surprise there at the end? The pattern kind of changes. So let's try that one more time, but we're going to use our alphabet letters. I think I said I was going to use those, but I actually ended up using the solfege. So this time we're going to be singing C's and G's. Ready, low, C, 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 G, G, C, 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 G, G, C, 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 G, 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 C, 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 G, G, C, 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 G, 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 C, 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 G, C, C, G, 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 C, G, G, C. So that's it. How did it go? Do you think that you mostly got all of the C's? Did you mostly get the G's? I'm really curious. I'm also really curious to know what other suggestions you have for ways we can move for our sight reading example. So I hope that you can share those with me and we can get them going next week. Hope you guys are doing well.